Hi, it's Ann. Thanks for stopping by. Here's what we're going to make today. We're going to make some whimsical trees. I've been seeing little trees like this on Pinterest for some time, and I thought, oh my gosh, those look easy. And I just thought it'd be fun to make some. You know, we love whimsy around Shea Kenlin, and they look really nice on journal cards. They would be cute on a journal cover. You could just use them as an embellishment almost any place that you wanted to. You can make them all different sizes. So let's just get started. Let's just get started. I think they're so cute. And all you need is this. You just need a bunch of paper scraps. And so I've gathered a bunch together. It's a fair amount of little scraps of cardstock here, but also some book pages that I have some ink smeared on. I pulled out some of my super ugly pages. So, wow, that's like almost a horror show there. But I think when we get it torn into bits, we'll see. Let's just start with a simple thing. I loved music page as a background for this little whimsical tree. So why don't we say we're going to use one of those too? But we're going to begin, when I made my first batch of these, I began just by making a whole bunch of trunks. And I just used some lightweight dark cardstock, but you could use any kind of a dark paper. You could use like a dark piece of a magazine page. And all you're going to do, as you can see from here, is you're just going to make kind of a fork. And we're just going to, let me see if I need to bring you in just a little bit closer. Not so close that it's scary. Did that even work? Might not have. There we go. Okay. We're going to just take a little bit of a rectangular shape piece and just come in from the top and make a bit of a curve there, because we want a wide piece, kind of like a broom at the top. Doesn't need to be straight, doesn't need to be even. I'm gonna switch to my pointier scissors here. And then at this wide part here, you just cut 2 V's. And again, the precision is not something you need to go for. Here's another V. And then I'm just going to angle these little branches here so that they look like they're not just cut off neatly. And there's our little trunk. I'm just going to make several here. Another one for the stash. Any kind of offcut works nicely. And you just make your strip that you're going to cut your trunk out of. You make that about as wide or a little bit wider than you want the spread of your branches to be. These are just the branches that are going to be visible, because we're going to put the tree part all on top. This is probably a little taller than it needs to be, but everything is trimmable. And the sides of that broom don't have to be even. Do not overthink this. Just 1 V and the other V. See, that's nice and uneven. Angle those off. Let's just make a couple more. Let's make one that's maybe just a little bit smaller, because these are fun to make in all kinds of sizes. Yeah, I saw these ages ago, and they've sort of have been on my list of whimsical things to do, but I just haven't gotten them to them. And they're I think they're a really sweet little addition to any sort of junk journal. And again, make them out of scraps. This is not anything that you go shopping for. If you're a card maker, they would make a wonderful little addition to the front of a card as well. There's our 2 V's. There's one, and I can trim that down. And let's, how about we do one more? Let's do one that has the bottom roots as well. We'll make this one about that tall. So this one we're gonna start wide and curve in and come back out to that broom-shaped top. You could almost take a circle punch and come in from either side here, but it's nice to have it hand done. Now, which side shall we make the bottom? The bottom doesn't really make any difference. I'm gonna, I keep turning it around like it makes any difference. It truly does not. This is gonna be the top part of our tree, or not the top part of the tree, the top part of the visible branches. And then let's do some roots here on the ground. Make them a little more shallow. But also just as uneven. Just cutting V's in there. There we go. This is not fine artistry, but it is art. Okay, there are our little tree trunks. I'm gonna get my bits swept away. I don't have my little desktop vacuum cleaner here handy, but we can be tidy despite that. All right, now let's do the leafy part of our tree. Oh, I forgot to, with these, I forgot to snip off the tops. You can see what I've tossed away here in my little tabletop waste bucket. There we go. And there we go. A whole grove of trunks. Now, one thing I found with these, because they are so simple, they could very easily end up looking, you know, with all due respect to 8-year-olds, precious 8-year-old in my life, as you know, my little grandson, they could easily end up looking like a bunch of 8-year-olds made these. But I think the secret to making them look artistic and whimsical and childlike, perhaps in their exuberance, without being childish, is a pretty smooth cut, not a symmetrical cut, but a cut that doesn't have a whole bunch of jaggedy angles on it for the leafy part of the tree. So let's kind of strive for that, and we'll do the best we can to make those cuts nice and smooth. The other thing that I think makes for a more artistic and pleasant looking top of the tree is if this, now what did I just do with it? I just had it. Anyway, if the background part of the tree, the leafy part, is in really strong contrast, oh, it's over here, I put something on top of it. If the leafy part of this tree has a very strong contrast with the background. So your color selections, your color value selections, and the smoothness with which you cut, I think can go a long way towards making it look like something is whimsical and charming, you know, but still done by an adult. With all due respect to the littles in our lives. So with this one, let's see, maybe I want something a little wider. No, I'll go ahead and go with this. Here's a nice dark red. So we'll have that for the leafy part. And what if we wanted to go with this book page that has the copper? yeah, let's just see. We're going to be putting pieces together and we don't know if they're going to work or not. But we can try lots of things together. Now you can cut just sort of an oval, you know. I have found that I do better in cutting these if I make a bit of a square or a rectangle, and then I start rounding the corners. But rounding them just by hand and not trying to be even, but to try to be somewhat smooth with the cut. There we go. And that could be okay on there. I don't know that that's going to be enough contrast. Why don't I go back into my little box of offcuts here. This, I kind of wish I had more prints here, because printed cardstock works really nicely, as you can, see from, from this here. I could just take another little piece of book page. I have a couple pieces that I cut off, that are from a master board that I made with just paper strips. Honestly, I had these little squares sitting around. I had no idea. They're kind of a weird shape. They don't really make a good tag. I cut them initially thinking I could make like quilt squares or something. Yeah, that was one of that was probably not the best of ideas that I had. But let's go ahead and just cut this into a slightly smaller oval. Not a whole lot smaller, is it? Maybe I'll take this, save this for another tree. I hope I'm even still in. I'm gonna come back out a little bit. There we go. I might have been cutting completely out of view. If I was, sorry about that. Yeah, I like the scrappiness of this piece, and I like the contrast between one kind of strong, solid color and one smaller color. Okay, this is nice, but it is too wide, so I'm gonna trim that down to size. It could also work like that. No, I think I like it a little bit taller. That's a little more proportional. And we could use our, I almost feel like I want to have a little bit of grass underneath there. Got a little scrap of green here. Shall I cut a little green circle for this tree to stand in? Try to shave off some of those. I've got a few little jaggedy bits. And I do think I'm going to ink the edges here. Yeah. I think that looks cute. Let me get my Distress ink out, and we'll start prepping some of these edges. There's a little bit of texture to this maroon piece, and I'm going to highlight that a little bit more with my distressing. There we go. Our little grassy green area, and this won't need any. Yeah, Yeah, I kind of like with this being the one we chose to put the roots in, it feels like that it needs to be grounded there somehow. And this can be on a journal card. It could be on a little side tuck. This is just 2 layers of paper that I have pasted together, and I could finish it into a card, but honestly, it could be so many things. So let's start from the ground up and put our little grassy scrap, and then we'll just do a few more. This is also something that is great to do out of magazine scraps. If you get a magazine that you want to do some collaging in, that's going to be about, right above that forte. A magazine that has, a lot of strong colors or something, you can cut all kinds of shapes out of those magazine images and have just a really charming little collaged whimsical tree. And again, out of using nothing to buy here, friends. And there's our little tree. These are really fun. I made quite a few. I'm going to show you some of the others that I have made. And then we're just going to make more. I'm just adding to my stash here too, and maybe you are as well. I love it when folks tell me that they craft right along with me. That happens a fair amount. I love knowing that. There we go. I'm going to ink the edges, even though we don't know exactly how this is going to end up, but you can get a bit of an idea. This could be like the cover of a little booklet. And you could add little labels or things to it, but I just think it's really kind of nice all on its own. Part of the joy of whimsical things is that they're not overdone, they're not over embellished, but we still have a little bit of that junk journal-y kind of thing with that book page and that scrappiness of that second oval. Let's set this aside and we'll do some more. Do you want to do one maybe on maybe a small one, like how about on a playing card? I have put gesso on here. As you know, I have wrestled with the idea of adhering things to the plasticized surface of playing cards before. A little bit of gesso helps because I don't want to sand the image away. Although if you're putting paper, particularly thin paper, if you're going to do napkin or something like that, a thin paper like napkin works really, really well with just a glue stick. But we're going to be putting a little bit of a heavier paper situation on here, and we'll see how that works. What do we have that's dark or darkish? Boy, I'm not ready to dig into the ugly papers there. Not quite yet. Oh, my laundry's done. Can you hear my dryer? Here's a magazine page. Yeah, let's go ahead. This is one that I think we even talked about this before. My grandson did this, taking a stencil and putting it underneath a magazine page and rubbing it with sandpaper, and he was very proud of himself, but he didn't wish to keep it. He said, "Grandma, you can have that for your crafts." So very generous he was. All right, that's going to be, I think, about the right size for that space. I can always cut it down. And let's just go as smoothly as we can. We're not going for symmetry. We're not going for perfection, but we are going for smooth edges. And if you can kind of hold your scissors in one spot, but move your paper, that's going to get you a little bit of the kind of result you want. I think proportionately that might be okay. Now, what can we do for our inner circle? what would go with that blue? We can go with something lighter. Boy, what's on the reverse side of this? I think I'm going to go for this same thickness, but just the reverse side of this little, that way I'm joining thin paper to thin paper, and that is usually a good idea. I think one of my biggest, it's hard to say that there's any mistakes in junk journaling, but you know, sometimes there is. At least there was in my mind. Some of my early things I did a lot of not looking at the thicknesses of paper that I joined together. And, you know, I had master boards with thick things next to thin papers. And, you know, not that I was in there measuring, but, you know when something's thick and when it's not so much. There. I'm kind of liking that. I don't think I need to ink the edge of my dark blue sanded piece, but I might put a little ink. I say as I'm absolutely doing that. I am putting a little ink around this inner piece. That's something we're hoping for, isn't it? Here we go. This paper is, because it is a magazine page, it is thin, so I want to be pretty sparing with my glue, but I do want it to stick. Once it has that, if it has that gesso on there, it'll be fine. There we go. And oh, these are so cute. These are not, you know, really exuberant colors, but sometimes we're writing about things that we're not quite so exuberant about. But we make it through, don't we? There we go. There. Because I used art glitter glue here, that is going to dry clear. I had a comment from a reader just this past week, because we talk a lot about the product art glitter glue. I'm showing it to you like there used to be a label here. The brand name is Art Glitter, and anyway, this particular did I say reader? Viewer said she remembers when the Art Glitter Company used to actually have glitter as one of their mainstay products. But then their glue was more popular. This is cute, but do you know what? I think it needs a little stamping. That's what I think. So I'm going to take this tiny little text stamp, and I'm just going to stick this here. This is the current catalog again. I got such a kick talking about viewer comments. I always save these current catalogs because they're, you know, they're nice to have, you know, they're pleasant to have around my craft desk, but they make really great gluing surfaces because they're kind of small. I can't tell you how many people, last time I had a current catalog on here as a glue surface, said, current catalog is still around? Yes, friends, it is. And they still offer unbelievable deals. I am not affiliated. I'm just an enthusiast. But yeah, I remember probably back in the 70s, ordering like address labels and things like that from current catalog, and cards and things like that. Because stuff was inexpensive, and I just, you know, you were literally filling out an order form with pen and ink. And writing your paper check to send in, and but they're, you know, so they've updated. I'll tell you, they're very good at text messages. I get a lot of text messages from our fine friends at Current, because I do get birthday cards in bulk from them for my seniors organization, because I can't keep up with the demand for birthday cards. People keep having birthdays, which is great. There we go. Do a little bit there. It's hardly visible. I'm kind of liking this little card. This is one that might have to do with some nice stitching around the edge. If I had my acrylic markers here handy, I might just do a little faux stitching, but or just do a little mark making. That's another one. This is another way we can use this with this whimsical tree. Let's try something that is a little more book pagey looking. Shall we do that? Maybe this is where, you know, I've committed myself to using this ugly page here. But maybe I'll use that on a book page. And yeah, we're just gonna see how that's gonna look. This might be one that we say, ooh, no thank you, which is always a reasonable option. Yeah, this was a book page I put a whole bunch of stain and paint and brayered off and gesso and stamping, and it looks like it was a dumping ground for my every creative function. And I don't know if you've been with me for a while, you may remember that I did a challenge for myself. Was that last year, early in the year maybe? It's been many months ago, where I had my husband go through my craft room and pick out the 5 ugliest papers that he could find, and see if I could challenge me to see if I could do something with them. And I did. I ended up really liking the things I made there. I think I want this one because it's a little bit longer. So let's just get to cutting, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the white around the edge, so it's not all this kind of weird kind of milk chocolate looking paint. The end. Looks like the end of creativity here. Let me go with another one that's sort of going to have that brown all around. Oh gosh, this stuff is bad. But yet we keep some of these things, don't we? As well we should. Maybe I can make the shape a little more interesting, make it a little more egg-shaped here at the top. Well, let's see. Let's just see. Don't think I have any jaggedy bits here. I like it better. Nope, the dark on dark doesn't really work. What about... I'm almost liking that contrast better. Let's see what we can find to go with that. Maybe this is where I use that little scrap of book page with the coppery stuff on it. Which, I don't know if I can... Oh, there it is. Nope, I'm afraid there's not enough contrast there. But let me cut one of these. I always hear people use the term audition when they're putting different kinds of crafty things together. I'm going to audition, you know, different papers, audition different background papers. I never like that term because, you know, you're trying things out. I always, frankly, it seems a little overly dramatic, almost literally dramatic for me to say I'm auditioning. I used to hear quilters use that term a lot. We're going to audition different fabrics. And yeah. But truthfully, that's kind of what I'm doing. So if I'm going to be ironic and say I'm auditioning different scraps of paper here, let's put a little trunk on there and see how it would look. Okay, not loving it, But do you know what I might love is if I go back to this thin little magazine scrap again. I keep using my scissors that I don't want to be using. Yeah, you're getting this real-time process here. That is better. That is just better. I don't know why. I'm just responding a lot more positively to that one. And again, I don't want to overthink, but you know what? I want to make the right choice. All right, I am going to get out the glue stick here because this little thin magazine page is going to soak up a little bit too much of the moisture of the art glitter glue. So let's put this here. This is going to be just a cute little journal card. Looks almost like an egg yolk in there, doesn't it? But we're going to... Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Because, yeah, thinner paper glue stick. Which of my little trunks did I use here? Yeah, that. And again, I don't know what this is going to be, but I don't have to. I'd like to do a little experiment during the time we have together. Let me round the corners and see how that looks. And this could be just a nice little journal card. Something nice and thin. You know, this would be great because these pages are thin to take like a page, a word or something from a magazine page. I don't happen to have any here. Or do I? Do I want to grab something from our friend current catalog? I think I don't, but I could. I could pull that word. I could pull out holiday. I could pull out free, feeling free, captivating. I don't feel like committing to an actual word on here yet. It has kind of a fallish look with that orange there and the brown. So I might use that for something current, something more topical to today if I'm going to use it in some of my own fall seasonal journaling. So anyway, we'll see. I think this is cute. You know what else we could put in here? I'm looking around on my desk. I've had these little bluebirds sitting on my desk forever. One of them could be there. One of them could be up in the tree. I don't know that it really works on that, on this green background though. They might be better. I think I kind of like it better on this playing card. Well, I'm going down the rabbit hole here, aren't I? I think that these were part of an embellishment that somebody sent me one time, that the thing itself wasn't my style, so I ended up using parts of it, and these were part of something else. Yes. Yes, the tree is sort of the star of the show, but yet here comes the bluebird of happiness. Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. Okay, here's one other thing I would like to try with you today, and it is this. I would like to try making a couple of these, you know, the leafy parts of trees, a part of our ovals here, and then cutting them in half and swapping them and getting kind of a real weird patchworky kind of look. Let's just try it. It may not work, but it might. Let's go back to some of our scrapbook paper. What do I have here? That. I've got some brown over here. I've got some kind of oranginess going on. Yeah, I'm just going to start with a couple of similarly sized pieces of scrapbook paper. And I'm going to know they're similarly sized because I'm going to cut them together. Right here, again, these are only scraps. Look at all that mess there. Left over from something. I don't even think these were my papers to begin with. I have some friends here in the area who, you know, they know somebody who was, you know, getting out of the paper game and had like bags of paper to give away, and they call, oh, Anne, I have paper for you. Some stuff like that comes my way from time to time, and probably yours as well. Let's see if I make this. Yeah, I can. Just making certain I wasn't going to be too wide. So I've got two pieces here together, and I'm not worried about them, you know, being, you know, exactly the same. So there can be some slippage, or I can trim one. Doesn't matter if one shifts a little bit. I just want them roughly the same shape. Go. I've got a couple of pointy bits here and here that I'm going to trim off. And any jagged pieces? A few. There we go. All right, so I'm going to make a couple of other pieces to help decorate them. I've got a little scrap of red. I don't think that fits the color scheme that well. I've got some kind of a patterned paper. This is just sort of an experiment. So let's see. Could have just folded this, I guess. There we go. And I'm going to get a smaller oval. out of this double-sided paper. That's going to give me two different effects. Yeah, this is mainly so we can kind of just see how this concept is going to work. And I think I will use the art glitter glue this time because this is a little bit thicker paper. This is something that might work better in my head than in reality, but isn't that often the case? But you don't know if you don't try. And maybe a little bit of inking would have been preferable here, but I was just anxious to try this concept. Okay. I'm gonna stack these up, and let's just cut them in half. We're just gonna slice them down the middle, or as close to the middle as we can get. Now, my thought was to put them together like this. I'm thinking in the right context, that might be fine. Here is a tag made out of a dictionary page that I had sitting here. Yeah, and they don't have to line up exactly, and they're not. But let's put this here. And we could have just an interesting look that kind of makes you go, whoa, what's with that whimsical tree? That's not like any tree I've ever seen. But yeah, here it is. Part of a journal, part of your creative expression. Yeah, I think we're getting the idea. I think this is where auditioning different papers and different colors, when you're relaxed in your craft room and just alone with your thoughts and relaxing and, you know, getting away from everyday stress to the extent you can do that. I think I like this idea of the two-tone tree. I really think I like the idea. I almost want to try it with something that's more bright, like something like this. And I think I might I might do that. But for now, let's finish off this tag. I'm just gonna cut off a little strip of some coffee dyed muslin, and don't know what I did with my little stapler, but hold this down here. And staple once, staple twice. Maybe angle this just a little bit so it's not taking itself too seriously. All right, you know, we could do a little decorating, a little stamping or something down there. You know, add a few words, but again, on this day, we don't really know what words we're gonna want. So we'll save our words for later. How about that? In the meantime, I hope you have fun just making some kind of whimsical ovals. use what you have on your desk to decorate things, and make a few trees. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.